Something coming faster than any of us can imagine and will change our lives in the most dramatic ways is AI.
And while AI used to sound freaky to me and just something that was going to take over my world, it really would have revolutionized my practice had I stuck around. Many of you know, I got so burnt out from charting. It was the big reason I left medicine because I was frustrated with the EMRs, the clunkiness, and the amount of time it took to learn them. Not only that, but not being able to sit and connect with the patient and look them in the eye, like one-on-one while you're actually interacting with them. The whole reason we went into medicine, not to do paperwork.
Yeah, so that's why May and I have started working with Lindy.ai, which is fascinating. They help you produce the most efficient notes, fully customizable, which is different than some other AI products. So you can do what you do best, which is see patients and let the artificial intelligence scribe do the dirty work for you.
Yeah, not only do you get the perfect patient notes the way you want, written in any format, for whatever specialty you're in, and maybe you're in ophthalmology or vet medicine. It will also create the note, scribe and send the patient follow-up instructions, referral letters, consultation notes. It's amazing. Lindy is offering our listeners a 7-day trial to experience the difference of their AI medical scribe. Go sign up at lindy.ai/BS free to get started. That is Lindy, LINDY.ai/BS free.
Finally, a source of raw, real, and honest information on healthcare issues that matter most. Welcome to BS Free MD. From the latest medical information to how to stay sane as a doctor or a patient, no subject is taboo, no BS is allowed. Now, let's welcome your hosts, Doctors May and Tim Hindmarsh.
Welcome back to another Truth Bomb. With your host, Dr. Tim and May Hindmarsh. Yes.
You have to say hosts, because if you say host, you're identifying as both you and me.
Well, maybe I identify as we, them, or them, they, or whatever other abortion of the English language. That's what it is. They're so pro-abortion that they're aborting the English language with the they, them stuff.
Well, I suppose that's one way of interpreting it. That's for another podcast episode. Today on our Truth Bomb, Tim's big thought of the week is...
Well, airports. So we spent a lot of hours in airports in the last week or so. And it's fascinating to me. I find them like little laboratories, because not lavatories, that's in the plane. And do not disable the smoke detector. But that's a side buddy trail. Laboratories, because they're kind of like the average person, right? Like to fly, it's not like you can be, destitute. You have to have some means, which means, you have to have a job, you have to have some kind of income. And so it just stuns me thinking back to when I was a kid, when people used to dress up to go on an airplane, and then it just kind of got worse and worse. And now it's just basically, aviation's version of Walmart.
No, it's called the Greyhound bus in the sky.
Yeah, the Greyhound bus in the sky. I wish they had a little ding ding thing so you could pull over. I need to pee. So, but I find it fascinating because I sit there and I've seen a lot of, we follow a lot of these health influencers, and, like Paul Salandino likes to put up stuff about how, this is a beach from 1970 and there's nobody's fat. And, here's a picture of Fifth Avenue in New York City in 1935, and everyone is super lean. And here's a picture from, 2 weeks ago, and it's just this ballooning of society. And normally, if I'm sitting there looking at people walking around, I would get really judgy. And it's like, people are lazy or whatever. And I don't think that anymore. I really don't. I mean, I think there's lots of factors, but I think largely what's happened is there's sort of a dark side to capitalism, where if you can process food and make more money because you can get more cheap food that people are addicted to, then you're going to get more gigantic people, because people will eat things that are addictive. It's clear. So you're going to get more fat, sick people when you live in a culture that makes food that people are, going to eat that's not good for them. And it's kind of like there's this stream of society or stream of culture that most of us get caught in. We're like a leaf in a river, and we just go with the flow. I mean, go with the flow is what happens to virtually everyone. It's very unusual to not be caught in that. And I think absolutely everyone to a certain degree gets caught in it, at least from time to time. And so once I kind of, that clicked in my head, and I said, okay, so it's this going with the flow that takes us to places that maybe we don't want to be. Then you get two choices. You can rail against the system and say it's the system's fault, which is super frustrating and probably is not going to amount to an awful lot of change. Or you can go, this is what it is. This is the way it works. And I still have enough freedom that I can decide to live outside of that whenever I want to. And I think that's really the key, which is if you really want to change your life, if you want to get healthier, if you want to get a different job, if you want to, like, the only person coming to save you is you. And we've been so marketed to, with regards to, new and improved, everything's new and improved, with politics and the politics of the vision. This is the most important election in our history. And it may be. I mean, I get that. I get that stuff's important. But, whether or not Trump gets elected, Biden gets elected, God knows who gets elected. I mean, they're going to have an effect in your life, but they're not going to have nearly the effect on their life that you can by getting up and going for a walk, or by changing your diet, or by making any other positive changes. And I think May would agree with this, because that's what she has been practicing in a little different way that has just really been blowing her mind.
Yeah, I'm immersed in a course right now, and I won't get into the details of it, but one of the things that came up, because it's of how to make meaningful changes, it's all about the small steps that you take. Consistency, having clarity, something important. But yeah, that was one of the points that really, I won't say hit home for me, but I think a lot of people, is that no one is coming to change you but you, unless you're in the military or under some tyrant that tells you what to do, which can happen. For the most part, your life really is about you making those changes. No one's going to rescue you and do the work for you. So I think for some people, there is this, I don't know, they live in this bubble where they are living for other people and their needs, or they are ignoring the problems, hoping they would go away, or they're waiting for someone else to come and save them, or looking for answers in all these places that they think are going to fix it out. You're exactly right that ultimately, if you want to do something different and be unstuck from where you are, no one is coming to make the change for you. It can only be done by you, ultimately.
Right. And now, having said that, this never happens effectively alone. The fact that you are left to save yourself does not mean you do it alone. And so for a lot of people, these kind of journeys of, self-discovery and making their lives better means they need a new set of friends. I mean, I saw this a lot when I dealt, 25 years ago with that, that big wave of the first wave or whatever of meth addiction where we lived. I tell people they get clean and I'm like, you got to move. Like, you might only have to move 20 miles, but you got to get away from your bad friends. And so none of this happens alone.
Make wise choices with your food selection.
Right. And make wise choices.
Is that what this is getting back to?
And also please make wise choices with your yoga pants, because now they're not yoga pants anymore. They're just yoga shorts and a sports bra, because now the airport is the gym. And then they have decided that yoga pants aren't just tight fitting, spandex garments. They now need to go up your butt crack. So basically it's just paint. Like you could just paint your legs and it would be exactly the same thing as wearing these new yoga pants.
Reeling it back in.
No one is saving you from those yoga pants but you.
Yes.
You could just paint them on.
I'm thinking that we're going down the dogtails with cocktails route here on this.
Yeah, but I don't know. I think people like that. But
So from a little diverse train of thought, from the airport to the clothing to the food choices to even any kind of life choices, really, you are the best one to save yourself. If you want to make big change, it starts with you. You're right. People can help along the way, but you have to be the one making the changes.
That's right. I mean, when we would get people in mental health crisis, unless they were literally a homicidal or suicidal risk, they had to make the appointment with the therapist, because the therapist knew it was impossible to reach somebody unless they wanted to be reached. So when someone throws the life jacket to you in the water, you still have to put the thing on. And that's really it, because it's just amazing, like just bumping downstream. And we all do it. Like, I'm not saying that I'm somehow above this, not at all.
Well, as I'm learning in the class that I'm doing, the course, there's the whole psychology of why we self-defeat ourselves, why we don't make the change for ourselves, what's behind it psychologically. And that sometimes needs a little unpacking. So if you're stuck in that place, I would suggest, looking for help in certain places, because I think that a lot of people want to change. They want to do the what it takes, but either A, they don't have the right tools or the right advice, or B, they hear it, but they don't know how to implement it because they get stuck in their old habits and fall back to their ways. And, I'm just even seeing that with myself in trying to work on this little project. It's like day 2 in, and I already see the stumbling blocks that I use, that I in my brain, that I tell myself that happen. And this is like an amazing experiment, because I'm really seeing where I won't say fail, but what excuses and where I trip myself up. And there's ways to change that. But you want to make any big change, it's got to start with you.
All right. Bombs away.
It's no secret that medicine is a bit uptight. That's why Tim and I created BS Free MD, to mix things up a little and have fun in the process. Besides, we are having these exact same discussions all the time, so we thought we might as well invite everyone to the party. If you really like us, you can get plenty more, and maybe see one of Tim's cool tattoos on our Instagram or Facebook pages at BS Free MD. See you next time.
But we try to keep BS Free MD as raw and real as possible. We can't be held responsible for any medical decisions or discussions had as a result of what you've heard on the show. We know, bummer. But the truth is, we really do care about your questions. So feel free to reach out to us by email at doc@bsfreemd.com.